All right, welcome to Mac Wired, our podcast focused on the baseball season. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves, tell us your name, your position, your year in school, and your number, and we'll go from there.
I'm Caleb Calez. I'm number 23. I'm a sophomore. I catch.
I'm Nathan Bell. I'm number 6. I'm a senior, and I also catch.
Cool. So let's jump right in to the season, and then we'll talk a little bit more about your journeys towards the end. So talk to us, Nathan, about how the season's going so far. I know you're 8-8, so talk to us a little bit about, from your perspective, from behind the plate, how the season's going.
So I think the story of this year, it's 1-1. It's a lot of splitting series with teams. So far, our defense has mainly been our biggest plus side. Hitting has definitely been one of our more negative parts of our game. Pitching, I'd say we're one of the best pitching teams in the ECC. If we're ever losing, it's usually because we get a couple bad breaks, couple jam shots just don't go our way. But overall, I think there's more positives that we can take out of the negatives, or more so than the negatives. But so far, I think this year's been okay. It can definitely be better, but we still got a long way to go.
Cool. And then Caleb, from your perspective, being a sophomore and and doing a little bit more viewing as opposed to being active, what would you say is the Anderson Raptors should be their main focus? Obviously, we heard hitting, but how are we going to improve so that we can get our record instead of being 8-8? How do we improve on those wins?
I feel like a big thing for us is having a good attitude moving into things, because since we do have a new coach, we're trying to. I've always heard here, Anderson doesn't have a baseball program because they can't keep a coach. But, I'm feeling that Brennan might be around for a while. So I'm hoping we can actually develop a program and, be known in the city more.
Great. And then when it comes to, those strengths and weaknesses, talk to me a little bit about how practicing games go in terms of the mentality. How do you guys prepare for the next game, knowing that hitting is one of your weaknesses? What are you doing to improve that?
So in practice, mainly all we're doing is hitting in the cage, letting coach throw to us. We're just constantly trying to grind, and it's been going on for me since November. Football guys got in here a little later, but we're just working on different situational hitting, trying to make the game go into practice so that we can be better prepared.
Okay.
In the game.
Talk to me a little bit about because I played baseball for about 10 years, and I know that the cage is a little bit different than going and then pitching with a machine or hitting with a machine versus hitting with pitchers that you're very familiar with, right? Versus pitchers that you've never really seen before. How do you mentally prepare for transitioning, like you said, with pitchers or machines that you're used to versus pitchers that you don't really know all that well? How do you prepare for that?
So for me, baseball is all about routine and superstition. So I always try to have the same mentality as if I'm going into the cage. I don't try to do anything different. That way I'm comfortable. I'm locked in. So
cool. What about you, Caleb?
It's like a big body feel thing, because it's definitely different going off your coach's arm than a pitcher. But if you can find similarities that you want to have in the cage and in the game, so big thing I think about, turn my front shoulder instead of drop it down. It's really just if you can find similarities in the cage and in the game, that's what really helps, if you can stay consistent with one thing.
Cool. Being a catcher, you're involved in every single play. And more so, not only are you involved in the pitching aspect, but also in defense and also in the morale of the team. Talk to me, Nathan, being a senior and being the senior catcher. What are some things that you have contributed and want to contribute to this team?
So growing up, I've always been a catcher. So it's always been, and my dad's always told me the catcher's the captain. It's the quarterback of the baseball team. So I feel like some sort of weight's on my shoulder because after every pitch, everyone's looking at me because I'm the one who has the ball. So I feel like I always have to look positive. That way, it boosts the rest of the team.
Cool. And then Caleb, talk to me a little bit about how what you say maybe on the to the team and your words, and because Nathan talked about attitude. Talk to me about that and being the catcher and knowing that responsibility.
Being behind the plate, you really have to, you can't catch if you don't want to lead. So, you really have to be a leader in that spot. All eyes are pretty much on you. I've always heard you you can tell a good catcher by not noticing him. So you just have to be like solid at your position and just have to be confident in what you're doing.
Absolutely. So let's talk about a little bit about the position. You two are both playing catcher, and what's your relationship on and off the field?
I love Caleb.
It's great.
Yes, he's 2 years younger than me, but I didn't really get to know him up until this season, and I'm glad I have gotten to know him. So we've gotten pretty close. I see him basically every day now, and hopefully I see him every day from here on out. So.
That's fantastic. And how has Nathan been as a mentor for you?
Good. It's been anytime I have a question about anything, he's fine to answer it. But when you play same position like catcher, especially when you have to lead like that, at games, practices, we're pretty much attached at the hip. Everything we do has to be the exact same. We have to communicate with everything. So you pretty much become brothers and attached.
That's awesome. So looking forward to the future, right? Obviously, you have to stay healthy. Obviously, you have to stay strong. We talked a little bit about how the game has to happen. What's your game plan, Nathan, going into the second half of the season to improve the Anderson Raptors to really, not only have a wonderful senior year season, but also leave a legacy of this is the first year when things started to change?
We just got to be more aggressive. We can't be looking back on anything. We got to, no regrets, just 110% the whole way to the end. I feel like if we do that, we can really make the season memorable.
Okay, and then Caleb, from your perspective, what are you hoping that if it's not a state championship, what do you feel is one of the most important goals for the Raptors this year?
I just hope we can get the younger guys in the program to develop because we do have a lot of seniors this year. So I'm just hoping even if this doesn't end with a state championship, that we can develop the program and have come into something good next year instead of start off from step one again.
Absolutely, and that's the most important thing in any team, in any organization. You want to make sure that it's continuous, right, and that everything is continuous and passed on.
Yeah,
and built.
And throughout the season, we've brought up a few guys from JV, so a couple sophomores who are now getting their time to shine, and I think that experience is really going to help us in the future.
Absolutely. Okay, so one thing we do in the podcast, we do a quick wrap up. So we're just going to rapid fire, and then you guys have to just answer, right off the bat. So I'll start. Let's see. Favorite dinosaur?
T-Rex.
Raptor, I guess.
Favorite shoe brand?
Adidas.
Nike.
Chipotle order.
Burrito, brown rice, half chicken, half steak, cheese, lettuce.
Burrito, extra chicken, extra white rice, extra cheese, queso, sour cream, lettuce. Yeah.
Great. Anything else you guys want to say?
Go Raptors.
Yes, go Raptors.
Boom! I like it. All right. Fantastic. Thank you. This is great.